Welcome everybody to an episode of Talk with Jordan, High Tech on the Low. Chuck, how are you this morning?
Hey man, I'm good. Thanks for having me.
For sure. It's my pleasure. Thank you so much for agreeing to come on the podcast. I feel like it's a long time coming for the man who actually allows me to do a podcast in his studio. So
yes, thank you.
I appreciate it, first of all. And today we're going to have a very interesting discussion with my guest, Daniel Chekalov, also known as Chuck, one of the owners and creative directors at Blackbox Studio here in Israel. They focus a lot on video productions, podcast productions, audio productions, whatever type of production it is, they're probably doing it. And today what we're going to talk about is the exciting world of productions in high tech, because, high tech is an industry a lot of times. I'm sure just based on some of your clients, it's an industry where a lot of people are trying to bootstrap, right? And they're trying to get the most for a little bit of money.
Right.
No one's against it. We're all trying to do it. It's life. But in the end, sometimes you sacrifice, where you sacrifice on money, you sacrifice also in quality.
Right.
And I think a lot of people also now, with kind of like, easy to edit softwares and, the iPhone 10X and 10XS and Plus and a million and whatever it is, everyone thinks they're like, they can make their own content nowadays. And in certain ways you can. It's totally possible. But in other ways, people still need to recognize the value of having professionals on it. So I think today, what we're going to talk about, and I'd love to just hear, is kind of what's going on in the world of productions. How do you guys still, fit in, and what you kind of think about it all. So, Chuck, let's get started. Maybe tell me a little bit about kind of what's going on in Blackbox these days.
Right. So we're a media production company. We specialize in video for the digital space, if I can call it like that.
Definitely.
We also started doing podcasts, as you can see, with a multi-camera setup, which is our first time.
Oh, exciting! I'm glad that
Congrats.
Did I get to try it out?
Yes.
Thank you.
So yeah, like I said, we're doing video productions. Just anything that is media, whether it's graphics, videos, still photography.
And what's like your kind of like ideal client that you work with?
Right. So an ideal client would be a client with a rather nice marketing budget. Okay.
Of course. Right. We can all say that has a nice budget. I'd love to work with you.
Yes. And when I'm saying a nice marketing budget, I don't mean that I want like to take this money and just pocket it. What I mean is with a bigger budget, we can produce something that is of high quality, something in the digital space when there's lots of noise, right?
Sure.
Everybody producing content now.
Right, get the buzz out there, get the virality out there.
Right. And if you have a rather good marketing budget, you can make this high quality production, and you can be bold.
Sure. And do you like to focus, let's say, mainly on technology ventures or on bigger companies, or what is your kind of focus in that sense, or is it everyone?
Actually, we're trying not to niche down. As a young company, we've been working for a year now.
Congratulations, that's huge.
Thanks.
Especially during this past year.
Yeah. We started right in the middle of Corona. And we're not trying to niche down yet. We're trying to rather fill the industry, whether it's the high-tech industry or other industries. And we're not niching down. We want to feel like what kind of projects we like doing. So obviously the high-tech industry, it's interesting. There's technology. There's all kinds of stuff.
Sure.
You can tell interesting stories.
Right, and especially it just kind of sells itself with the actual technology being thrown in there, of course.
Right.
Sure. So, I mean, in that sense, it sounds like you guys are still kind of figuring it all out, trying to understand, who you are, what you're about, what's going out there. But at the same time, it also sounds like you guys are still hitting some big clients, this year. And even in your first year, I know that you were telling me earlier that you had people like Electra that deals with basically all of the air conditioning in Israel. And I know that you guys were talking to me also about this app for a while that was wanting you guys to do some video production as well. I forgot the name of it, excuse me. But that's very cool. So now, I mean, the thing to me is that why when you are explaining to people, in a sense, why they should come and work with Blackbox, what do you say to them? Beyond the fact that you guys are, professionals, do good work, are creative, whatever it is, how do you get them to kind of, I would say fork over that marketing budget to you guys? And can they kind of expect that to be worth their while?
Right. So we work on like we operate in two ways. The one way is where we receive a brief. You know, there's a marketing department. They have a couple of creatives. They think over an idea, and we just execute this idea, like the technicalities, the shooting, the pre-production, all those cool stuff.
Right. So kind of just helping them realize a vision.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And there's companies who would like to find a partner. Like a production company would be a partner, right?
Okay.
So, and this is where we really like to have this kind of job and projects, because we can actually write the creatives ourselves, create the briefs ourselves. And when a production company creates the briefs, they create it in mind where they can like make it more adjusted and optimized to the budget. You know?
Got you. So you're kind of saying like you guys kind of can provide that like external perspective for the companies to be like, okay, this is our idea, but we need to fit it into X amount of money. So let's do it. And how can we do it to make it kind of the best within the budget?
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it sounds to me that that's kind of like a constant, you know, struggle in a sense within the high tech industry is how do you fit yourself sometimes within startup budgets, because in the end everyone's trying to make it, everyone's trying to push, everyone's bootstrapping, and in the end everyone needs to eat. So I think that's always interesting. Now when you're dealing kind of with, you know, startups, especially bootstrap startups, you know, are you dealing with a lot of bootstrap startups, or are you dealing more with ones who have kind of gone through several rounds of funding?
I think so far the companies that we've worked with, they had a certain amount of investment in them. They haven't been bootstrapped, so they have a marketing budget and they want to go through with it.
Right. And what do they normally, you know, come to you with? You know, what types of projects? Is it promotionals?
It's usually they're usually in the stealth startup mode. It's what they call this, when they haven't like launched or soft launched or whatever they call it.
Okay.
And they need something to we can say it's a proper normal commercial where you introduce the product.
Okay.
Right. So this is like the main theme that people are talking about. There's other companies that have been operating for a couple of years, and they need to bring a new category of clients. So the hot thing right now, and it's been for a while, I think, it's testimonial videos.
Okay.
Right, so where you interview a client and he's...
Right, tells you how it is.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, and I think the last thing was user experience journeys.
Okay.
Where you show the app or platform or whatever it is, the technology that they're developing.
That's cool.
Yes.
That's very cool. So it sounds like basically you have kind of like the promotional commercial type. You have what you said, the customer testimonial, kind of like the, what would you say, like the feedback version of what's going on, and then the actual like what's going on in the app, right? Like how does this work? What's the technology? How do you use it? Whatever it might be. Now that's very cool. So, you know, one thing that I'm also from the video field and obviously from the creative field myself. And one of the things that I always find very interesting is that, you know, when people come to you and they ask for your skills or for your budget or whatever it is, right? And they basically are stunned, right? They're like surprised. They're like, you know, thinking that, you know, you're going to edit some video or do some even day-long production. You quote them a certain price and they're like, well, I thought it was going to be half of that, or I thought it was going to be, you know, a quarter of that, or whatever it was going to be. Or they were like, well, I thought I was going to pay you $300 for 8 hours of work, you know?
Yeah.
And how do you deal with that? And how do you also, I guess, convince startups that you guys actually need, like they need you guys?
So I think in every startup's strategy, I think marketing is the most important thing which you need to budget for. And luckily, we haven't had the chance to work with too many clients that don't understand the complexity of doing productions.
Sure.
Like when we say a certain price range or a budget, they wouldn't be surprised.
Okay.
So that's
so
nice.
Kind of picking the right client, it sounds like it. Okay.
Right.
Now, but also at the same time, do you ever run into that issue? I mean, so let's leave the budget aside. Budget is one thing, right? You got to find the right guy who's willing to pay. Fine. But how do you still convince people to use you? Because, like, you know, as we were just saying even earlier, it's like, okay, so I have the iPhone, right? I can just, you know, put up my iPhone, get an iPhone tripod, and do customer testimonials. You know.
Yeah. So that's true. Lately, I've seen on LinkedIn a trend of a couple of companies that have been producing content on their own, and I think that's nice. I think it's better than not producing any content.
Definitely.
Right? But it's starting to look like everybody's copying each other. Everybody's uploading photos from, videos from their phone, whether it's like some talking head explaining something, or it's an interview, or
Sure.
just a testimonial. And frankly, they all look the same.
Uh-huh.
And this is where you, as a company or as a marketing director or whatever, you should be aiming to be different. You
Right.
should be aiming to be bold. And
True.
it's pretty simple. If everybody is producing something of a certain quality, you either need to produce something of a shittier quality, and I'm sorry for the word, or of a higher quality to be bold.
Right.
So
Basically, you need to differentiate yourself.
Yes, exactly. And I wouldn't recommend to do something worse than a phone video,
Sure.
but you know.
I mean, listen, I know exactly what you're talking about in that sense. I definitely see that kind of, I don't know what you'd call it, kind of like that just, singular thread of like, okay, I take my video, my camera, my iPhone, put it up here like this, right? Take a, hey guys, I'm at the office, look at me, cool, we have everyone working, and then, that's like the post for the day. I personally don't always like that stuff myself either, so it's interesting that you bring that up. Now, one of the things, I want to know from your kind of experience is, you guys kind of come in as a production studio. You guys don't do marketing necessarily, but you help with assets, marketing assets, let's call it.
Yes.
And so when a company comes to you, and you said you like that whole partnership idea, right? So when a company comes to you, do you kind of say like, we are going to be your like partner in visual assets, and that's it, and they like go with it?
No, we're also stepping in as a marketing advisor. Obviously, we wouldn't be working directly with the CEO or a C-level kind of people.
Sure.
It should be with the marketing department, because they know what they need.
Okay.
Right? And usually we would, if we would come up as a partner and not just an external production company that would be doing just a video or two, when we come in as a partner, we usually work over a Gantt, like we spread this whole year and see how we can produce content over this year, so they would have these assets to publish on their social media stuff,
Nice. So it's kind of like you guys provide them a major service in that sense, almost kind of like an external marketing.
Yeah, we like to call it a content strategy.
Nice.
Right. So it's not just, hey, bring us, we shoot you a testimonial videos, and that's it. Just get the video file. No, we want to break it down. We want to tell you that on this holiday you should produce this kind of videos. Maybe something from inside the organization, like nothing marketing related. Just show the employees having fun on a certain holiday.
Nice.
Stuff like that.
Nice. Okay, cool. So it's kind of like, if content is king, you're like the advisor to the king.
Exactly.
I love it. Okay, that's fantastic. So what's like, one of the main things that you see as kind of being problematic right now, and how, startups approach their content?
So like I said, there's this trend on LinkedIn. I think people should stop copying themselves. It's very easy to do something on your phone.
Like, you mean copying each other in a sense?
Yes, yes. And I said that it's better to have some kind of content of any quality than not to have content at all.
Definitely.
If you have kind of clients that are going through the buying journey and they're researching you, and they see that you have no kind of social presence, no kind of media, no videos, they'll probably drop you and go over to the competitor.
That's what I always tell people too. And they're always stunned to hear that. I'm the same way. Glad we're in the same agreement.
And I'm not against the phone trend. I think it's for those specific bootstrapped companies and startups that don't have a budget, right? It is better to produce something on your phone than nothing at all.
Definitely.
Right.
Definitely.
But when you look at the return on investment, right, and you look at the numbers of the videos, you should realize that the thing that you produced on your phone, it can be like 10x better if you produce it in a higher quality format.
Right, higher quality format with, higher quality creative development, we can call it, higher quality editing.
Right.
I agree with you. I think And that's something that I think is sometimes overlooked, is sometimes people, when they are just focused on the money and on the budget, they actually overlook the whole larger package, right, that comes with a production studio, or that comes with this type of service, product, whatever you want to call it. It's like, guys, we gotta focus on the quality, not just how much is coming out of the budget.
Yeah, I mean, videos are a pretty measurable tool. I mean, you upload it, you have the insights, you can see how many likes, you can see how many comments, replies, interactions you have on this.
How much it's watched, how much percent of it is watched.
Exactly.
You know?
And if you're into A/B testing, you can, I mean, if you're a marketing director, you can test it yourself. You can upload a video from your phone, and probably the audio and the video quality won't be as good as if it was produced by a production company.
Definitely.
Right?
Definitely.
And people will definitely scroll past that.
Oh, for sure. Now, the other thing I think that's interesting is that when you think about engagement, right, for these startups, are you coming at some of the content with them from a conversion mentality? You know, the idea that you're trying to get them sales, or do you really just come at it from like, we're here to do the job that you guys need us to do? Like, in what way do you kind of approach these startups?
Well, it depends on the client. If they wanna fit our services in a certain step in the buyer's journey, right, in the funnel,
sure,
and they want us to have we should be in the middle of the funnel, so we should address the video and how it's being made. Specifically for this part of the funnel, right?
Okay.
So if it's in the research and discovery phase, it should be more like I wouldn't say promotional, but more of an introduction video.
Sure.
Right.
Sure. Definitely.
And if it's in the middle of the funnel, maybe it should be like a user experience walkthrough.
Sure. Definitely. I think that's very true, right? You have to go based on the time and
right.
what they're wanting in that sense, for sure.
And if you already have clients and you see that your client retention isn't as best, so you can treat video as a customer success tool, right?
Definitely.
So that's testimonials, that's stuff like that.
For sure. Now, you know, moving to kind of like another interesting discussion that I want to get to before we kind of finish up here is this. You know, the world of like video production, I think, as we were even just talking before this podcast, is changing, right? You know, the whole idea of content. First, as we've said many times throughout this podcast, people have the ability to do content themselves, decently quality, even, you know, content if they really want to. And there's just a lot more access to it. I mean, definitely, you know, there just is.
Right.
At the same time, you know, there's that whole balance, like we've been saying, about the budget, how much people are willing to put out, what's really worth it, quality, all that stuff. Where do you see the future of content creation, video production, whatever you want to kind of go down? Where do you see it going in the next, you know, 5 years, let's see, 10 years even?
Right, so I don't have the numbers in front of me right now, but I think that all of us have been glued to screens over the past year. We've been locked in our houses and we've been glued to screens. And this kind of trend of screen time, it's not going to go down. It's just gonna go up. Whether it's bad or not bad, I don't know. And if video is like getting more traction over social media and over all those platforms, it's just gonna go up and up, and it will be the leading marketing tool for any kind of business, whether it's bootstrap startups or just whatever.
Sure, and I mean also you could even say that for audio. I mean, even like with the opening of, you know, Clubhouse and different things like that, right? I mean, there's this whole network of content coming out. But do you think, and this is like a really honest question in that sense, and don't take it the wrong way, but do you think you guys are going to be relevant, you know, in like a few years in that sense?
Yes, for sure.
Why do you think so?
I can tell you about the this past year over the corona.
Sure.
We've been the busiest we've ever been, right?
Really?
Right.
Wow.
And it's been a tough year, but we've been the busiest we've ever been. And when the world is eventually like opening back up to the routine that we're used to have, I think it's just gonna rise and rise and rise.
Really? So it's kind of like almost like you think that in a sense because of like the corona, it's almost like pushed everyone into this mode of we need to make content.
Exactly.
We need to invest in our digital strategy. We need to make sure we're putting it out there and almost doing it, like you said, to get the high quality, high creative quality and everything value out of it.
Exactly. When you, as a business, and what you care about is how people look at you. And when you invest in a good-looking website, because this is like your, you know, like
your business card,
yeah, it's your business card. It's your business's face,
sure.
right? So I guess that content is gonna be like the same way. If you're gonna produce a content that won't stand in the same standard with your whole business, it will, you know, it will harm the business.
Definitely. It's like, it's, you know, it's what I always tell, you know, my clients too. It's like, if you want people to understand what you are, then make sure you look like it, you know?
Exactly.
So definitely, I think that's so true. You know, I'll tell you this, it's interesting to see where the world's going to go with content, because with so many new innovations out there, so many new platforms all the time, different methods, you know, right now we're going back. It's also like the circle, right? You know, audio was dead for a while, radio was dead, now it's coming back, right? Video was weird for a while, now it's coming back. So it's interesting to see the whole cyclical nature of things. Is there anything before we finish up that you want to add, you know, for startups about Blackbox, anything like that?
So you can approach us with like any query you have. We'll be happy to hear and advise. If it's not a project, we'll be happy to just have a dialogue. And you know, people say content is king. I say video is king.
Amazing, amazing. Chuck, thank you so much
for having me,
for being on the podcast.
Thank
and I wish you guys the best. And I know we'll be doing more podcasts here, so don't worry.
For sure. Thanks.
Thank you everyone for watching and listening. If you would like to listen to more episodes not on our YouTube channel, please follow the links below to Spotify or Apple Music.